Hello, trading has closed on the 16th of August, 2024. As always, we'll start with our disclaimer, go over our calls, and make some predictions. It's my trading plan for Monday, which is August 19th, 2024. Please remember, my calls can be completely wrong. Any trade you make should be made at your own risk. Also, until the middle of next week, I will not be risking my own money on any of these calls. By the middle of next week, I hope to be resuming my usual schedule. Look for the pattern with the early high today. We got that. Monday should also have the early high. We had some targets, 55.2804. Target hit here. Target hit close here. Support under the target. That worked like a charm. We had an optional target, 55.0409, came nowhere near it. Optional targets don't have to print. We'll just forget this one. Here's what we said. Futures are up as I was writing this, but I thought we had a chance to drop at the open, and we had a big drop at the open. We said if that happened, the wave count was compatible with the rally being over, and if today were an inside day, Monday could see a big drop. Well, at this point, had we broken lower, I could have explained this as a top. However, there wasn't an inside day. That's why we said if. This didn't hold, and so what would have been an excellent pattern for a top was invalidated. And when these things fail, they usually fail in grand style. That doesn't mean we have to rally further Monday, but it's telling us that the rally in all likelihood is not over. Here's where we call the top, right here, based on DeMark's indicators. At the time, we set our target for the downside was at least 5,200 with a chance to get around 5,000. The low here was 51.19 and change. That's right in the middle of the range we set. After Friday's close, Norm Winsky called for a major low at Monday's open, which worked, and I thought we were going to have a big rally coming up, which we did on this day. I said yesterday this was about as far as we could go and still think that DeMark's top indicator was being active. We went further. I think that negative signal has played out. It certainly went low enough. It didn't fail. It certainly got low. Perhaps it could have gone lower, but it didn't. Stopped right at DeMark's TDST line, which is support. We have a strong rally from support. I don't know if this gets retested again or not. Most likely not. But I think it's going to hold, and regardless of what happens Monday, I think we're going up, and I think we'll see higher highs before the year's out. We said at the time here that this was a top, but not the top, and I think I'm going to reiterate that at this time. During the day, MEJT gave a buy signal. This was the minimum target, but clearly we got more. You can't drop like this when there is an active buy signal and have it stick. So that was a false move. It retraced. We got an ultimate buy signal here and a lower target. We've gone far enough to satisfy both of those. So that's played out. This is the daily chart, and this is RSI. RSI is now at 59.15. Anything over 50 is a sign of a market in a bull phase, under 50, bear phase. And when you're right around 50, it's kind of wishy-washy. We've gone straight up. We're now in a strong bull phase. 59.15 is bullish. So I think this bull move is going to continue, but it doesn't mean it has to continue Monday. This is a major league trend line. We stopped right at it. And when you go up to a trend line in a straight line move, either you gap over the line or the line wins. Which means if we don't gap over this line Monday, any move over it won't stick. Let's look at our wave count. We had this huge ABC. That's completed. I was originally looking for a 5-wave pattern up. I have trouble counting this that way. I think we're making a 3-wave pattern, but it can still be a strong rally. You don't consolidate for over 20 years, have a move like this, and then say that's the end of it. You call this wave A. This is either A of B, magenta A of blue B, or it's blue B itself. And then we're starting this up wave here. Here's where we are. We're in this up wave. It's possible, once again, to count the wave as being over. If that's A and that's B, you set this at 38.2, call this a expanded flat, and at 100% we stop here. So we have a strong rally to a trend line. We have a wave count compatible with this being over. And even though this low should hold, that doesn't mean we go up Monday. If we're going to go up Monday, we should gap over these highs. And it's certainly possible. I mean, we had a great chance for a top today, and it didn't happen. But if we don't gap over the high, I think we're ready for a pullback. Don't forget, we have lower targets we'd like to see print. These are next week's patterns. Monday's pattern has the early high regardless of where we open. Long term, the relative strength index, RSI, is over 50, implying we're back in bull mode. The rally since the early August low is strong enough to make me believe the correction from the top's over. The intermediate term, we had an excellent setup for a top today, and that setup failed. And usually when these things fail, they fail big. We always put ifs on these things, and the ifs didn't play out. Short term, we've rallied to a trend line, a straight line. There's wave balance at the high of the day. Bulls need to gap and promptly overtake that high, or we should see lower prices. Now, today's normally bearish pattern was positive. It was a bullish pattern. So unless we gap down smartly, we should see higher prices. And those contradict each other to a certain extent. It suggests we're going to have a gap open. I mean, this is a strong rally. If we gap over this, we could certainly continue, because just because that wave count worked doesn't mean some other count won't. But if we don't gap over this, there's a good chance we're going to gap and start a correction. Gap down and start a correction, which eventually will recover. And by the end of the year, I expect we're going to be much higher. Earlier we had a target of 59.75. Before the rally's over, I think we could be over 6,000. That doesn't mean we have to go up Monday, because that's resistance. So if you gap over, we can continue. Otherwise, we're going to have a dip, which should give us a chance to buy. We're in a bull market again. I think that was a serious correction. I think it's ended. And I think the rest of the year, we might not go up in a straight line, but we should be going up. And that's today's call.